Good afternoon, and welcome to another chapter read aloud. Today we're going to read from a book called Race to the Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse, and this is part of the Rick Riordan Presents series, where he helps to publish authors of diverse backgrounds who are writing about their own cultures. And I'm going to start off by reading the actual, I guess you could call this the introduction to this, which is written, of course, by Rick Riordan, and it's called The Original American Gods. Changing Woman, Rock Crystal Boy, The Glittering World, The Hero Twins. If these names don't ring a bell, you've been missing out on some of the coolest mythology anywhere. And he has a footnote here about mythology, and he says, just to be clear, when I use the word mythology, it is in its first and most basic sense, meaning stories about gods and heroes, not in its latter, more secondary application as something false or made up. So, we're missing out on some of the coolest mythology anywhere, but don't worry. Thanks to Rebecca Roanhorse and Race to the Sun, you're about to plunge headfirst into the fabulous, scary, wonderful story world of the Dene, also called the Navajo. Even if you already know something about traditional Navajo tales, you're going to squee with delight because you had never experienced them like this before. Meet Nuzoni Begay. Her first name is pronounced Nuzoni, I hope I did that right, and means beauty. In many ways, she's a typical New Mexico 7th grader. She just wants to be good at something to get some respect at school. Unfortunately, nothing works. Her bid for internet fame is a fail. Her chance to become a sports superstar ends with a basketball in the face. She can barely manage to hang on to her one good friend, Davery, and prevent her artsy younger brother, Mac, from getting beat up by his nemesis, Adrian Cuttlebush. And as if that weren't enough, Nuzoni has another small issue. Recently, she's been seeing monsters. Nobody else seems to notice, but Nuzoni is pretty sure that even Mr. Charles, the rich guy who is offering Nuzoni's dad a new job in Oklahoma, is not human. Worse, it seems that Mr. Charles has sought out the Begay family because he considers Nuzoni some kind of threat. I love this story, and not just because it's a funny, brilliant page-turner with unforgettable characters and an ingenious quest. The point of Rick Riordan Presents is to publish and promote great voices from cultures that have too often been marginalized or erased by mainstream culture. No one has suffered from this more than Native and Indigenous peoples. As Rebecca says in her author's note, it's important for Native kids to be able to see themselves in fiction, but it's equally important for people of all backgrounds to read about Indigenous characters who aren't just a collection of stereotypes or long-dead figures from the past. Native cultures are alive and well and vibrant. Their stories can tell you about the original American gods and heroes, those who inhabited and embodied the land for thousands of years before the Europeans brought over their interlooping Zeuses and Aphrodites and what have you. I'll tell you something I haven't shared before. Piper McLean, the half-Cherokee character in my Heroes of Olympus series, was inspired by conversations I had with Native kids during school visits, over which I did hundreds over the years. They asked me repeatedly whether I could add a Native hero to Percy Jackson's world. They wanted to see themselves reflected at Camp Half-Blood because they simply never found themselves in popular kids' books. Piper was my way of saying, absolutely, I see you, I value you, you can be part of my world anytime. But my perspective is not a Native perspective. It was one thing to include Piper as part of the heroic ensemble, to share Percy Jackson's world with kids from all backgrounds, and send a message that heroes can come from all sorts of places. It would be quite another thing to write entirely from a Native protagonist's point of view about the mythology of his or her own culture, and I yearn to find books like that and put them into the hands of young readers, Native and non-Native alike. There are so many wonderful Indigenous mythologies, they deserve to be read, shared, and spotlighted. For Native kids, seeing themselves reflected in books is critical. Seeing themselves reflected in the very authors who create those books is exponentially more empowering. I am thrilled that Rebecca Roanhorse agreed to write Race to the Sun for Rick Riordan Presents. It's a much-needed addition to children's fiction, and I hope it's the first of many. For all kids, reading about other cultures' mythology is a way to expand their imagination and their empathy. There's an old Czech proverb, learn a new language, gain a new soul. Mythology is similar. The traditional sacred stories of every culture can offer us a new window into the world, a new way of seeing and understanding. As a bonus, when written by someone as talented as Rebecca Roanhorse, mythology is wildly entertaining. But I've said enough. I'll let Mazzoni take it from here. Welcome to Dineta. Keep your hands and feet inside the novel at all times, or some monster might bite them off. If you're really good, maybe the Begay family will take you to Pasta Palace afterwards for some spaghettini maca ravioli. I wonder what that is. All right, so are we ready for the book? And I just want to show you the next page. We have some Navajo designs and what appears to be a large bird, perhaps an eagle. Chapter 1, I Can See Monsters. My name is Nizoni Begay, and I can see monsters. In fact, I'm looking at one right now. The monster is a pale man with thin blonde hair, slightly bulging eyes, and unusually red lips. He's tall and skinny. He has on a black suit and tie. Monsters wear human skin more often than fairy tales would lead you to think. Scales and horns and claws are strictly for beginners. Trust me, I'm an expert on those things. This monster is sitting in the second row of the packed bleachers of my 7th grade co-ed basketball game, looking completely normal. Normal except for the fact that he's wearing a suit when everyone else is wearing a t-shirt that says, Go Isotopes or Go Beavers, depending on which team they're rooting for. Normal, except there's a circle of empty space around him despite the gym being filled to capacity, like nobody wants to get close to him. Maybe they feel there's something creepy about him too, but they aren't sure what it is. I watch as a lady in a bright purple tracksuit moves in front of him, waving a red and black pom-pom dangerously near his face. Pretty sure if she keeps that up, she's a goner. Monsters don't take kindly to people invading their personal space. Okay, I made that up. I don't actually know how monsters feel about personal space, or whether they eat ladies in purple tracksuits, and I'm not so much as an expert as a reluctant amateur. It started as a strange feeling while watching a lady massaging the avocados at the farmer's market, and there was a definite bad vibe from the old dude with the scaly feet and Jesus sandals at the Taco Bell. And just like in those instances, every instinct I have is shouting at me that this guy in the bleachers is not normal. The teeny hairs in the back of my neck rise, a chill, like the time my brother Matt dumped a snowball down my shirt, shudders down my spine. Out of habit, I touch the turquoise pendant I have taped to my chest underneath my shirt. I'm not supposed to wear it during basketball games, but knowing it's there helps me feel brave. Nizoni! The way the school year has been going, trying to be brave has become an almost full-time thing. When I left my big public school and transferred to ICCS, short for Intertribal Community Charter School, and pronounced IX, I really thought things would change for me. And by change, I mean I'd have lots of friends and be popular. After all, every student at IX is Native American just like me. But I've been at IX for 2 years now and nothing is different. I'm still not popular and I'm definitely not cool. I'm just Nizoni Begay. Coach! I whip my head around because of course I'm not listening. Hello, monster. And she's right there in my face. So close, in fact, that drops of spittle fly out of her mouth and hit my cheek every time she shouts my name. I surreptitiously wipe off the spit, trying not to look completely grossed out, even though it's pretty gross. Coach is no monster, but she has issues with personal space, too. She's always in mine. She's also a little short for basketball, but no one would ever tell her that because she makes up for it being height challenged by being really loud. Coach is Hopi, so it's not her fault she's short. Besides, she's scary in other ways. I'm not worried she'll eat my eyeballs for hors d'oeuvres or anything. Eyeball hors d'oeuvres are very popular with monsters. I read that somewhere, FYI. Coach snaps her fingers inches from my nose. Are you even listening? I nod. Total lie. Besides, it's timeout. Nobody listens during timeout. There's 5 seconds left in the game, she yells. Your focus should be on, she points at herself with 2 fingers, and your teammates. She gestures at the group of 7th grade boys and girls now huddling around me. We need you to pay attention. Sure thing, Coach, I chirp obediently. But honestly, all I can think about now are eyeballs stacked like meatballs on a toothpick for easy snacking. Coach is talking again. Okay, Davery is going to pass the ball in. Who wants to take the last shot? I'll do it, I say, raising my hand. The rest of my team groans in disbelief. Put your hand down, Nizoni, Coach snaps. You're standing right beside me. All right, I lower it. But I can take the last shot. Coach looks at me. The whole team looks at me. I stand a little straighter to seem extra tall. I, in fact, am not height challenged. I have a good 1.5 inches on Coach. I'll take the last shot, I repeat firmly. Are you sure, Nizoni? Davery whispers. He's my best friend. Okay, my only friend. And he always has my back, but right now he looks a little worried. His brown eyes are narrowed and concerned behind his glasses and his lips pressed together thoughtfully. He runs a nervous hand over his short, cropped, curly hair. Easy as pie, I insist. You pass the ball to me, I'll be at the top of the key, and swish! Isotopes win. I bust out my most confident smile. Davery just crinkles his brow. Does anyone else want to take the last shot? Coach asks, looking pointedly at the rest of the team. Everyone looks down or away or anywhere else but at Coach, because no one wants that kind of pressure. Anyone? She asks again, desperate. I clear my throat loudly. Okay, Coach says, resigned. Davery passes the ball to Dezzoni. Dezzoni, you take the shot. Be ready. Movement in the bleachers catches my eye. It's the monster. I watch as he makes his way past the other spectators. He's pushy, knocking into people's knees without even saying, excuse me. Rude, but then monsters aren't known for their good manners. Some folks give him a dirty look as he shoves his way through, but most just move aside, rub their arms like they're cold, and mutter unhappily to the person next to them. I lose sight of him as the crowd rises to their feet. I twist my neck this way and that, straining to see where he disappeared to in the midst of screaming fans, but he's gone, lost in a sea of black and red. Coach claps just as the buzzer sounds, signaling the end of timeout. Everyone on the team extends an arm into the middle of the circle, touches hands, and yells, "Isotopes!" A rallying cry for what must be the worst mascot in the history of mascots, except for maybe this one team I heard of called the Fighting Pickles. But really, who even knows what an isotope is? Davery once tried to explain it to me. Something to do with the history of nuclear technology and atomic bombs in New Mexico. Blah, blah, but I fell asleep halfway through. Coach is yelling. We hurry to take our spots. Davery is at midcourt with the ball in his hands. I run to the top of the key and get ready for the inbound pass. I try to visualize the winning shot I'm about to make, like Coach tells us to. I can see it all. The crowd chanting my name, my teammates hoisting me up on their shoulders and leading me around the gym in victory, just like a champion in a sports movie. Everyone will know me. I'll be a superstar. Fame, glory. I take another quick peek at the crowd, double-checking for the monster in the suit. Nothing. No, wait. There he is. Bottom row, courtside, 20 feet away. His eyes are red, and he is staring right at me. 4 things happen at once. 1, I scream. 2, the ref blows the whistle. 3, Davery shouts my name. 4, and I toward him just in time for the basketball to hit me smack right between the eyes. Chapter 2, Blood Everywhere. I wake up flat on my back, blurry faces hovering over me. My own face feels warm and sticky, and I reach for my nose. My hand comes away coated in blood. I blink away tears as I recognize Coach, Davery, and a few other teammates staring down at me. A low murmur of disappointment in the air tells me that the game is over. I hear the shuffle of thwarted Isotope fans leaving the gym. And then I remember. I prop myself on my elbows and look around, but I don't see the monster in the black suit anymore. I sneak a glance at the scoreboard. The score was tied before, but now the Isotopes are down by 2, which means we lost. I groan, more from embarrassment than pain. Take this, Coach says, shoving something cold and lumpy in my hand, an ice pack. What happened? I ask, pretty sure I already know, but I'm hoping I'm wrong. You don't want to know the details, Davery warns me. My nose hurts so badly it feels like it's going to fall off, but I guess it's not, because Coach grunts and says, walk it off, Big A, you're fine. Then Coach walks away herself. My teammates, who've been staring at me with various levels of horror, disgust, and disappointment, leave too. I hear someone mutter, what a loser. Thanks for caring, I mumble after their retreating backs. You okay? Davery asks. He held out his hand to pull me up. I'm fine, I say through a bloody nose, holding the Ziploc bag full of ice to my face. Once I'm on my feet, I see that the gym is pretty much emptied out. Discarded popcorn bags and paper plates litter the bleachers. Coach tried to call your dad, but nobody answered, Davery informs me. She shouldn't have bothered, I mutter. I'll just walk home. Davery looks concerned, but I shrug it off. I know my friend feels bad for me, but I'm used to Dad not being able to make it to my basketball games, just like he wasn't able to attend my first grade school play when I had my first speaking role as a giant fungus in The Very Hungry Caterpillar, an interpretive dance. It's no surprise that he's too busy to pick up his injured and humiliated daughter, who is clumsy enough to get hit in the face with a basketball and lose the game. How bad is it? I asked Davery, bracing myself for the truth. Oh, your average humiliation, he says lightly. Ball to the nose, blood everywhere. The Beavers get the rebound off your face and go down and score. The crowd goes wild. He cups his hands over his mouth and makes cheering noises. Then he drops his hands and adds, Isotopes lose in a dramatic upset. Dezzoni Begay is banned from ever setting foot in the Ix gym again. Ugh. Yeah, Ugh is right. What happened? You were totally spacing out back there. I thought you were going to make the winning shot. I thought I was too. At least that was the plan. To be honest, I'm not very good at basketball, just like I'm not very good at most things. I even flubbed my one line in The Very Hungry Caterpillar, But an opportunity like that, to get all the glory and have all the fans scream your name, I had to try, right? I was really hoping to launch my bid for school fame, I confess as we walked toward the gym doors. I've given up on being internet famous, but school famous still felt within the realm of possibility. A game-winning basket would have been a perfect start. Davery snorts. Well, that plan is a total loss. The only thing you launched was 1,000 sad memes. I chew my bottom lip, thinking, do you think this means all sports are out of reach now, or just basketball? What did you have in mind? I could try to join the lacrosse team. You don't know how to play lacrosse either. A ball, a stick, how hard can it be? Don't let Hod Squad hear you say that. The Hod Squad is a group of Haudenosaunee girls who rule the lacrosse team. Since their people invented the game, that makes sense. Okay, lacrosse is out. What about the swim team I barrel on? Wait, do we even have a swim team? Dizoni, David says, shaking his head. Cricket, volleyball, synchronized swimming. I fling my free arm out in a ballet-like move. David ducks at the last minute to avoid getting hit in the head. Whoops. Okay, I say. Maybe not synchronized swimming. He sighs. Why do you need to be famous anyway? I stifle a groan. David wouldn't understand. His parents love him, dote on him, and turn up for everything he does. They were front and center for the very hungry caterpillar. They even came to watch him present a book report once, which was, admittedly, a little awkward since they were the only parents there and had to sit on those teeny chairs next to Lori Wilder, who kept asking Davery if he was really Indian. Davery's mom is African American and his dad is Navajo, and small-minded people like Lori can't fathom that folks can be part of two cultures. Ignorance like that is another reason Davery and I both left our old public schools and transferred to Ix. But at least Davery's parents cared enough to come. My dad didn't, and my mom, well, she's been gone since I was a toddler. I clutch the turquoise pendant under my shirt. It's the only thing I have left of her besides the one picture of her, my dad, my little brother, and me that Dad keeps in the fireplace mantel. I don't know why she abandoned us, and Dad won't talk about her, so I don't even get the benefit of his memories, just this necklace. Sometimes it's enough. More often, it's not. So I'm that kid, the one with no mom and a barely there dad, and some therapist would probably say I crave attention or approval or whatever, and that's why I try so hard to be popular. But it's not just that, it's something deeper, something more important. Yet every time I think I'm ready to try to explain the truth to Davery, I can't make the words come out. So instead I say, are you kidding me? Heroes get all the glory, single-handedly winning the game at the last moment with a clutch shot. My eyes get teary just thinking about it. Besides, everyone knows when you're in the school hero. Maybe then people will learn how to pronounce my name. We pause in front of the gym doors and Davery gives me a dubious look, like it's hard to say Nuzoni. He plants his hands on his hips. I notice how distracted you were in the game. What's really going on with you? For a second, I want to blurt it all out, but the words sit on my tongue, cold and uncomfortable, like the time I stuffed a whole bag of marbles in my mouth on a dare, and they kept trying to escape from my cheeks. Almost died from that one. Didn't. I want to tell Davery about the weird feeling I had about the man in the black suit, the surety that he wasn't human, and the fact that, at least at the moment, his eyes were red. Explain that it isn't the first time that I've sensed a monster, but I don't. The truth is, Davery is smart and funny and could have any friends he wanted. He hangs out with me because we've known each other since preschool. His dad and mine are old buddies from Fort Lewis College. It's probably just a matter of time before he decides being with me is a liability he doesn't need. And then I'll be alone. No, I can't tell him about the monsters and let him think I'm even weirder than he already knows. I am. Besides, if I were him, I wouldn't believe me, because I can barely believe it myself. There's nothing going on with me, and I was distracted because I'm hungry. Feed me and I'll be fine. Hey, Davery says, maybe we can go get froyo, rainbow sprinkles, to celebrate your humiliation? I laugh, accidentally snorting dried blood up my bruised nose. Ouch! I know Davery's just trying to cheer me up by offering a delicious distraction, and I'm all for it. Rainbow sprinkles are my favorite. At least the bleeding stopped, he said, but your uniform is toast. I glanced down at my good old Isotopes jersey. The front of my shirt looks like a ketchup convention gone awry. Dad is not going to be happy. Although on second thought, it does look pretty heroic, right? It looks like you lost a fight with an angry tomato. Okay, so maybe not so heroic. What gets bloodstains out, I ask. Soda pop will get it out? Like from the vending machine? He nods. It contains carbonic acid, which breaks down the proteins. Okay, I say, waving a hand. Stop sciencing me. How do you know these things? I like to read. I guess that's what happens when your dad's a librarian. The head librarian of the whole school district, in fact. Davery spends a lot of time in the main branch as a result. Even if he wasn't, I'd still like to read. I like knowing things. He frowns at the look on my face. You should try it sometime, Z. That and doing your homework. It's not so bad. Maybe, but doing homework is not how I'm going to find my true destiny. I push the exit door open and motion for him to go first, sighing over yet another missed opportunity to be a middle school superstar. Before I follow him out, I take one last look back at the nearly empty gym. The custodian has already appeared to sweep up the mess, his broom moving steadily back and forth across the wood floor. And there, at the top of the bleachers, is someone else, the man in the black suit, red eyes staring right at me. And that's our reading for today. I hope you enjoyed these first few chapters of Race to the Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. Thanks and have a great day.